most of you by now know that I work at VIP Mortgage. A lot of you may not know why or how I got there. For us as LOs, we have a lot of options. And for me, VIP Mortgage was the perfect fit and the best place, in my opinion, to work. So if you have any questions about VIP Mortgage as an LO, or if you are a consumer and you're looking for a mortgage, you can reach out to me on social media, or you can reach out to anybody else that you may know at VIP Mortgage. And our website is vipmtginc.com. Welcome to Real Talk with Ryan Madrid, brought to you by VIP Mortgage. Today's guest is an innovative entrepreneur that has ties to the real estate market and is heavily involved in the community with nonprofits. His name is Justin Hodge, and he's with Muscular Moving Men. Welcome to the Real Talk with Ryan Madrid. I have my nephew Trey over here, my sister Trisha over here doing the production work for us and social media, so thanks again. So let's just get rolling. Obviously, we had a little bit of technical difficulties, so we're a little late on this, but this is what happens in life, right? There's all kinds of struggles. We did it today and just got to keep cool, man. It's all good. So let's just start off where are you from?
So born and raised here in Scottsdale, Arizona. It's funny, my wife and I and my two kids all born at the same hospital in Scottsdale, which is, it's kind of random. So my wife and I met each other later on in life, but we found out we kind of knew each other from Boys and Girls Club, which was weird. We went to the same places. We knew the same people.
Which hospital was that?
Scottsdale Osborne. I'm not sure.
I was going to say, that was not open when you were born. North Scottsdale.
Well, it's called, I don't even know what it is at this point, but we're from
Banner
the old
Osborne, I think.
Something like that.
Yeah, there you go.
So Boys and Girls Club, grew up there. They've now since torn down the Boys and Girls Club, which was really sad. So skipping ahead a little bit, for me, Boys and Girls Club's always been an important part of my life. So not only did I kind of know my future wife from there, but my business partner and I went to school, went there after school, and super competitive growing up and played all the sports and all that kind of stuff. So nice. Yeah, born and raised here locally.
Fun fact, I also grew up in the Boys and Girls Club of Peoria. Did I not, Trisha? I did.
We've now verified that. We've got a second.
Yep. Boys and Girls Club as well. Played basketball there on the carpet floor. That's what it was back then.
I know the carpet floor well. It was the one that nobody ever wanted to go play. I'm sure your knees looked like hell.
Yeah, that's what we had to do over there. So yeah, jumping in, I guess to like you said, Josh. So you guys met at the Boys and Girls Club playing basketball together. And then, did you guys go to elementary school together?
No, so we didn't, but I actually didn't like him at all at first. I'm still on the fence a little bit. We're 30 years in, so we'll get to a point where we really like each other. But so I met my future business partner, Josh Jurhill, who I started Muscular Moving Men with, and I think we're just super competitive guys. And you have that kind of fire when you work with a business partner. People do great on their own. I think there's no doubt.
Yeah.
And people have differing outlooks on this. I told my own father that I was going to start a business with my best friend, and he goes, "Oh, that'll fail."
Right.
Like, thanks, Dad. Appreciate the support, but I feel like iron sharpens iron, and we both show up every day and want to one up each other.
And you have totally different roles too.
100%. So
you need each other.
You have different skill sets. If that wasn't the case, we probably wouldn't be as successful as we are.
So back up then. So you where'd you go to high school at?
Saguaro.
Okay, so you went to Saguaro, and then you went to ASU right after that.
So I went to ASU, and I wanted to essentially be on ESPN as a sports center anchor.
Okay.
That was my whole goal.
Yep.
Talk about sports
voice.
if I couldn't play sports. Thank you. Talking to Barry White over here. If I can, be in your ballpark.
Yeah, right.
But the plan was to go be on ESPN as a sports anchor, talk sports. I went to the Cronkite School of Journalism, and along with that, learned some public relations, and I was pretty good at writing. And you kind of come to find out there's really no money in sports broadcasting, and you're also going to probably have to move to Connecticut, which is across the country, and it just started to not sound very awesome. So I went and worked at a moving company when I was in college, and things kind of, took off from there.
So what made you go do that? So you're just looking for a job, and you're like, I'm going to go lift furniture? Instead of going to be a bartender or waiter or something?
They weren't even, I know, right? I'm living on campus at ASU. For some reason, I thought manual labor would be a fantastic idea. And I was probably 17, 18 at the time. And from there, within the first couple of months, I only had to move and drive for a short period of time. So they just started promoting me within the office. I was the manager of the office, and then I became a regional manager, and I'm not even 21 at this point.
Right.
And I think people looked at me at a young age kind of like, well, who is this kid telling us what to do? But I learned the business, and I think that if you're going to start something, you obviously need some kind of a template to work with. And so I learned a lot.
So you were a regional manager for a moving company while in college still.
So going to college, and I was in a fraternity, and I tried out for ASU's basketball team, which didn't quite pan out for me, but still super competitive at playing sports. So yeah, I had a lot on my plate.
So you spent a ton of time in the what do they call that? The gym, but what's it called?
The SRC.
The SRC.
The SRC. You know that.
Dominating the SRC. Okay. So did Josh work there too, or tell us how this kind of progressed into Muscular Movement with Josh?
So it's probably 05, 06. We both have other jobs at this point. So I had a few years of learning the business. I had 2 men in the truck and just kind of understood the way to charge people, how to do the service that was needed. Because moving in general is a super segmented business. There's commercial, there's residential, there's long distance, local freight. I mean, without boring everyone to tears about this, it's very vast. So we learned one very specific aspect, and Josh did work there for a couple of weeks, but I think he got fired at one point, which it made a lot of sense to me. I probably couldn't have him as an employee either. But he's matured a lot. He's matured slightly in that time. So Josh had another job he worked at in an insurance company for Hartford. So he's at Hartford Insurance. He kind of learns this corporate way of doing things. There's a very precise, there's tons of red tape, and you have management and all these different levels to go through. And I kind of knew my own upbringing with my dad, who owned a paint and body repair shop. And he was a one and only owner. He's the guy that said, partnerships will fail. Don't do it. You need to run a business on your own. I mean, literally, I saw him time and time again throw insurance adjusters out of his office because he did not agree with what they thought. Mm-hmm. So just 2 completely different styles of doing things. There's corporate, there's independent. And, I knew moving, so we would post ads on Craigslist to move people after hours. And you move a lot of weird, shady people on Craigslist. So we wore these black tank tops. We borrowed my dad's truck and trailer. We would go move all kinds of random stuff. You may or may not get paid at the end of the gig. You finish 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. You go back to school. You go back to your job. And we kind of just felt like, wow, we've got a little bit of cash here. This seemed like maybe there's something here. Maybe we could start something together.
So let's go back to the black tank tops. So that's where the Muscular moving men came from. You guys just show up and you were just this is our look and this is our thing.
Amongst other things. So we're both big fans of Arnold Schwarzenegger. We talked about favorite movies at one point. I forgot to throw in
You didn't throw one Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I did not, which I'm kind of sad about now. I could go down the list, but he was
He said Forrest Gump, Braveheart, Gladiator, obviously Godfather. Everybody says that. What was the other one?
Should have thrown in anything Arnold Schwarzenegger. True Lies.
Okay.
Don't forget Pumping Iron. So we both had watched Pumping Iron, I think, at one point.
All right.
And Josh actually was Mr. Arizona a couple of different times. So he's, obviously.
He's in the bodybuilding world.
He's in the bodybuilding world. I'm more in the tall, slim world that, depends on other things.
Yeah.
So, we figured we got to call this thing something. We can't call it Justin and Josh Moving. So Muscular Moving Men. That seems like I'm a fan of alliteration. Let's give that a shot. So we bought a logo online for $25. We called it Buddy the Box, trademarked it, and that's kind of what you see on the hat here today. And we've now since then created a real life full size character. We paid this. There's a family that actually makes all of the mascots for all of the local sports teams. So this thing literally was like $12,000. We bought a mascot, which is a big investment at the time.
Yeah.
I think we've got our money's worth. I don't know if that's 100% accurate, but it kind of made it fun and lovable. It brands you. So you name a company Muscular Moving Men. I think to a certain extent you're kind of somewhat alienating some of the population that might want to say, well, who do these guys think they are? But you kind of have a cute and funny aspect to it with having a mascot.
Yeah. No, I think it's good. So you guys got the truck. And you would work at night, go back to your work, whatever. Was Josh still at Hartford? Or he is done with Hartford.
So he was working at his insurance job, and I was kind of still doing my other job as well. And it took probably 6 months to fully go all the way in. Because we had not bought our own moving truck at that point. So funny story, we decided it was time to buy our first moving truck, and we bought this piece of junk 97 Freightliner. And we bought it from the owner of Skin Cabaret, which was right next to a pawn shop near Scottsdale Road and the 202. So we had a very professional meeting. We bought the truck at the pawn shop. We maxed out our company credit card, and we did the first sensible thing you do when you buy an old piece of junk moving truck is we put a radio in it. So we had a very nice top-of-the-line sound system, a truck that may or may not run, and we decided, you know what, there's somebody that called for a move from California. Let's drive this thing to California and go move some stuff. So we go pick up hot tubs, weight equipment, things that we definitely had no business moving, no understanding of how to move.
Right.
But our big thing was say yes and figure it out later.
Right.
And every job was a 2-man job. Didn't matter if it was a 5,000 square foot house, 2-man job. 1-bedroom apartment, 2-man job. So people, I think they thought we were crazy, but we really did not have like a playbook of how to do this thing. We just kind of, other than figuring out how to charge for local moving, which is what I knew, we just figured it out as we went. And the first moving truck was really when we first dove in with both feet and said, let's quit our jobs. This is going to be our thing.
Right. So do you think that since Josh came from the corporate world at Hartford, that like helped from like more of like the staying focused from a corporate standpoint and like, I don't
More
know, systems,
professional.
processes. Like he was used to kind of like, okay, we have to do these certain things on an everyday basis. And you were kind of like still from the entrepreneur world, or that really didn't, it just was like he hated that job and he just needed to move on.
So I think a lot of the things you need when you start a business, like insurance, and I would love to have not had to buy insurance. That was a huge cost for us. Initially off the bat, you start to realize that I think there was a blend there. I knew paint and body repair, I knew automotive repair, I knew moving. Josh, knew bodybuilding and knew insurance, and had kind of, so there was this blend, and we talked about this. Why does a partnership work? Well, I think we have different skill sets. So he's very operational, very process-driven, very setting goals and expectations and measuring that. And I'm very sales, marketing, kind of more forward-facing. So we blended those things together, and we made every mistake you can possibly make. And we talked about this. And so I'll just kind of fast forward quickly, and if you want to bring it back. So we had at this point, 3 moving trucks. I think it's 2011. And we were parking our trucks at some, rundown strip mall kind of office plaza, but it was definitely not meant for parking moving trucks. So no fenced in parking. We've got these big dirty moving trucks. They were desperate to rent a space. There's a couple of other tenants in this space. We say, we'll move in here, but we have 3 moving trucks. Great. Park them wherever you want. Have a great time. And every day we'd get there and we'd see all the other business owners like, who the hell do these guys think they are, parking these big dirty moving trucks? And probably 3 months into parking at this place, I'll never forget 1940 East Thunderbird in Phoenix. It's like tattooed in my memory. We showed up and all the trucks had been wiped out. So when I say wiped out, windshield smashed, tires popped, gas stolen, battery stolen, giant boulders thrown into the cabs of the trucks, the doors rolled up, all your equipment stole, like anything. They must have spent an hour going through. Nobody saw this. We had no cameras. We had no fencing. And so you show up, and it was just us basically running this company. And not only can you not go service all the clients that need moves that day, but you have to tell your team, you're going to have to go home. You can't put food on your table. Sorry, we have no trucks. So, it was definitely one of those gut check moments. So
did you guys go, well, I'm done? Did either one of you go like, I can't take this anymore. This is like not good.
There's definitely a moment where you kind of think about that. But I think for me, I didn't feel like I really had any other options. So we kind of went a little bit past, my future wife and I, we had a baby girl that was on the way, which was kind of somewhat of we need to start our own business. This was 08, 09. But
so you guys were, hold on. Back up. So did you guys buy the truck yet? Or was Jackie already pregnant?
Jackie was pregnant first.
And then you bought the truck.
Then later on, we bought a truck, probably 6 months after that. We were just using a truck and trailer, doing very not professional moving with an open trailer with quilts and whatever straps that you had. It was kind of a nightmare.
We came up the hard way, so that's good. It's a good story.
It really is one of those things, I think, that you've got to learn these lessons, and it toughens you. It hardens you. So when we had that gut check moment in 2011 and the trucks are wiped out, it lasted for just a moment. And then from there, and again, I think having a partner makes you feel like you're going to get through it together. If I had been by myself at that point, I'd have been, I'll figure something else out. Yeah. So you get the trucks fixed. You go back the next day. We're good. We had a bunch of guys fixing things, and we literally had it done that day. And so we call a construction rental fence company. Hey, let's get these trucks fenced up. We're like, man, we're so solid. We've got this construction fencing, and nobody's going to hurt us at this point. Now we're good. So probably 3 weeks goes by, and show up one morning. Same thing happened again. All the trucks were wiped out. The construction fencing that we thought was solid had been like pried up and thrown down, and every truck was wiped out. Windshield smashed, tires popped, gas stolen, everything you can possibly imagine. So we're kind of like, well, who the hell would do this to us at this? What did we do to this? You have that. It's more than a gut check moment at that point. It's kind of like, what what did we do to deserve this?
Right.
I'm trying to like build a family, build a business.
Right. You're like reevaluating all the people you did wrong along
100%.
the way.
I'm like, I must have done something to piss somebody off.
So did you find out who it was?
We don't find out who it was. We then do the natural thing, what we thought was natural. We were kind of weird people, but we hire an attack dog service. So
what is that? And you can do that?
We literally go online. We find this attack dog service. So this guy, William, shows up in a panel van and a bite suit. And these were the meanest dogs I'd ever seen in my life. They wanted to kill him, us, anything around them. So he puts the dogs inside the fenced area. We were watching this thing, and somebody kind of rides their bike along the fence, and these dogs get up on the fence and almost bow this thing over to eat this guy riding by on his bike. We're like, we are so set. We're great. We got our attack dog service, our fencing. We put some cameras in. We will never be hit ever again. And that lasted for a while, and it was another funny story and a step in our history. But we went from Josh's condo to this first office, and then from there, we moved into 10729 North 19th Avenue, which was a slightly less terrible office. And then we went to, and we kind of just continued to build our way up. So 12 plus years in, not to fast forward, but we have a pretty cool facility just off the Cape Creek and 101 location. We have about 50,000 feet of space. Nobody's ever vandalized the trucks. They're parked behind a closed gate, and we have a lot less to worry about. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, no, it's obviously it's a success story. That sounds like some crazy stuff. So do you think that's, well, I mean, trials and tribulations, obviously you've dealt with a ton of stuff, and that was mainly at the beginning, but your business is rough, dude, like for real, right? I mean, from customers dealing with that, and then employees, because those employees can go move anywhere, right? There's a ton of moving companies, so you've got to figure out a reason for them to want to stay, right? And we talked about that this morning, like in some of the things we talked about. We're in a networking group together as well, right? So obviously we pass business along, but keeping employees happy, but building the employees up to a point where they want to stay, and there has to be room for growth, right? So I know like some of the guys that work inside now were movers at one point, right?
100%.
So, yeah. So talk me through that whole process and how you guys do that.
So one of our core values that we really believe in is advancement. So if you went to our building and walked inside, you'd see the 6-pack of core values, which we ripped off from Crescent Crown Brewing Company. We actually went to a presentation there when we had partnered with a different company, and we saw all these things. And I think, like you said, moving is moving anywhere you go. Our crew members can go start their own moving companies, which a lot of them have done. And so how do you fix that? How do you keep guys bought in? How do you make them want to stay? Well, you've got to have culture. You've got to have advancement. So for us, our 6-pack is quality, financial efficiency, respect, advancement, culture, and customer experience. And it's something that's on the wall that we believe in, not just a bunch of words. And so if you don't know what that means and you work there, be prepared to drop down and do some push-ups. Be prepared to go get called into HR, and you need to learn it before you go back out. So advancement is a way that you keep people bought in. I'm not in a dead-end position. I'm not going to be a career mover, a journeyman. I can actually get into the office, because if you went in there, you'd see operations and sales, marketing, human resources, all these different departments, and most of them are former movers. So we've trained people to go through various different classes to get them capable of working in the office and running the company. So I think that's one thing that you have to do, because you're moving furniture in 120-degree heat. In Arizona. It's almost the hardest thing I could ever ask somebody to do. I actually went back out myself a couple of months ago just to prove that you still got it. You want to go reconnect with your team. So there was a couple of moves going sideways. We had some moves for some important clients, and one that I had booked, and I felt bad because it was kind of going over. So I go out there to check on our team. It's probably 4:00 in the afternoon. I'm kind of like, you know what? Let me just help these guys finish up the move. They're probably close to being finished. It's going to be fine. I get there and I realize this is not going to be done till like 2:00 in the morning. We have a long night ahead of us. So I ended up being out there the whole time. You kind of like grit your teeth and bear through it. And the guys have a lot of respect for you, and you have respect for them. I got home at 2:00, 3:00 in the morning, something like that. And I just absolutely laid on the floor, and I did not get up for 12 hours.
How
Jackie's
sore were you 2 days later?
If I had to go back and move furniture the next day, I would have quit my job. So, but it's one of those things where you talk about like, what do you have to do to get people to buy in? I don't know if I've even like scratched the surface of like what it takes to do what these guys do, but I feel good about what we've built, because if they show up again to do the job, we've done something right because they want to still be there.
When having conversations with my real estate partners, one of the things I always ask them is, how organized are you? Do you have a CRM system? Or do you have a drip campaign? Are you staying in contact with your referral partners, your clients, etc.? And a lot of agents do not, or they've gone through multiple CRM systems. I found a really good CRM system that I recommend. It's called Escrow, the letter S, grow. And immediately you're going to see an impact in your business just because of the automatic campaigns that are already pre-written for you. It's a great system, great system, easy to use, because I think that's one of the problems that people have. Things are already set up, templates are already created. All you have to do is put your contacts in and let it ride. So if you don't have a system, you're looking for a system, visit escrowcrm.com for more information. Right. I mean, so do you guys measure turnover like versus other companies? Is that a big deal?
It is a huge deal. Okay. So HR, our human resources managers, literally hiring 5 or 10 people a week and putting them through training every week. So it's not just hiring and bye, go have fun, go move some stuff. They've got to go through a bunch of different training. So for us, I think one thing that's interesting that we've done a good job of is incentivizing people. We talked about advancement, but no matter what you do, what career you're in, you've got to incentivize the people around you. And so for us, how do we get crew level employees to want to be incentivized? Well, we pay them an hourly rate, but they also can earn commission. How do you earn commission? Well, if you sell packing supplies or you do various things, you can earn commission. And how do I get commission eligible? Well, you have to pass these 5 training classes to do that. So I have to go through customer service training, packing, moving, conflict resolution. And if I don't pass those classes, I can't be commission eligible. So you'd be amazed when you schedule a training class, how many people show up to that as opposed to, if it was optional and I can't make any more money. So we're definitely all about incentivizing people. And I think that's one thing that I talk about with business owners that are going to start their thing is you can pay somebody and that's great. And they probably will work hard for you, but figure out a way to buy them in and make them want to stay for life.
Yeah. So let me just back up a little bit because we like to get raw and real here. So I want to go back to, so sorry, Jackie, but so Jackie's pregnant, you buy the truck, and then you have a baby, obviously, and this is like during the real tough times, right?
So this is 08, 09, basically.
So how, like, from like even like a personal standpoint, like how rough was that part? Was it like you having, let me just say this, let me ask this. So because of the fact you had a new kid, you're just starting a new business, right? You're in a newer relationship. That's tough, dude, is to kind of break through and actually like survive that, right? So, how tough was it at the home life and work and business and trying to deal with all that one time just on your mental health?
Stress level was like super high. You hit the nail on the head. But what I think the saving grace for us is that this wasn't like a fun little project. This was out of necessity. Like we had no choice but to be successful. So it's 08, 09. We're in the middle of the economic recession. People are, losing their jobs left and right, losing their houses. But we found that moving is always going to be a need that people have. So it wasn't fun. You'd show up at someone's house and they're getting foreclosed on or they're going through a bankruptcy, but they're going to have to pay to hire a moving company. So the conversations we have these days are definitely a lot different than they were back then.
Yeah.
But it was super tough. I'm with a new wife and a baby and I'm 24, 25 years old and I didn't know what I was doing. So we're just trying to figure it out as we go. And, Jackie's at home taking care of our daughter. She's watching kids to try to make ends meet for us. We're living in a tiny little apartment complex off of, this is Ventura Vista at Cave Creek and Union Hills. So I remember it like it was yesterday being there too, this little tiny apartment. You've got your computer set up, you're scheduling jobs, and it was either that or Josh's condo, and he had his own little bedroom office. And so she's watching kids and hating life, and I'm going off to work every day at 6 a.m. and trying to book moves and do them ourselves. So it was stressful for sure.
Yeah. It's cool though because you guys dealt with so much crap that not everybody has to go through. So you've had all those I hate to say trials and tribulations again, but it's not really that. But it's just a struggle, right?
It is,
and it builds not only a relationship with Josh, and you guys have been through a lot. You're like brothers. I mean, it's and then obviously you and Jackie have been through a ton through that process too. It just makes everything better, everything stronger, makes and sweeter, I should say. So let's just talk a little bit about. So you guys brought Jim Stevens over for your commercial side. So you decided to expand. I mean, you're always doing something, right? So you have to kind of keep growing. But so Jim comes over. How did that happen?
By the way, I'm rolling my sleeves up a little bit as we speak. It's a little warm.
I know. It's a little hot in here.
But so we did start a commercial division in 2019. So we're almost 2 years in. And office moving and residential moving are just two different art forms. It sounds kind of weird. I'm sure people's, their radios are turning off right now. They're like, this guy's doing art. He's moving stuff. But it is because, the one way that we would do a house move is completely the different way than we do an office move. So residential move, there's 3 guys in one truck moving a 1,600 square foot house. We're moving the same 1,600 square foot office. There's probably 20 guys on this move. And the reason for that is that you put together what we call a bucket brigade. So there's crew members that stay at every 50 feet. They don't move or deviate from that. So while we could go learn that and understand all these different techniques and try to build this commercial business, that's one idea versus we found somebody that's a specialist in another state. He's a guy like us that's our age, that's got this, want to take the hill and build this big business. And we like the guy a lot. Actually, when I talked to Jim, I thought he was a 50-plus-year-old man. And he sounds like this old wise man that you're talking to, but he's like mid-30s. And he just got his act together.
He's super focused, like one of the most focused people I've ever met.
It's intense.
And so that was a crazy find. But he was in D.C. So how do you find a guy in D.C. to come to Arizona? So
Jim Stevens is working at a company called JK Moving, and they're doing $50+ million a year just in office moving. And their residential is another 50, 60. So you've got over $100 million organization. We're a fraction of that. And so what's attractive to him to come here? Why would he care?
Yeah.
How can we incentivize him, and how can we make this profitable for everybody? So one skill set that I feel like I have is being able to put together an arrangement with a future executive that is going to be beneficial for us and for them, and creating a package that is a little bit at a time, releasing things for them that is going to make them rich in the long run if they stay with us. So again, how do you make people want to stay for the long haul? So we have an arrangement where he's becoming an owner of his division, and so you set up metrics for that are measurable, whether it's the top line revenue or your net profit at the bottom line or your gross profit somewhere in between. But you want to track the numbers and know that we hit our goals. So you set revenue targets and we crush those. So year 1 we did 4 times what we were trying to do in revenue. Year 2 we've doubled what we did last year. We're going to crush it again. And he's great. So you've got somebody that is just drill down focus, as he likes to say, in one part of the moving world. And we've got what we do on the other side of it. And it's just, they're great complementary businesses. So that's what our whole goal and vision is now, is add these extra complementary businesses.
Yeah, he was obviously a great find. Very structured guy, but fun. Good dude. I didn't know if it was from you guys had a relationship or what. You just found it by a headhunter?
Never met him. Or just... So we got training with. So the International Office Moving Institute puts together this training. They teach you how to do commercial moving. We went through that. There's
a place that does this.
Swear
Everybody.
To God.
Now they've turned their.
Now radio's on. All right, we can talk freely. Nobody's listening. All right, let's talk for real.
Yeah.
But so there's this guru that teaches this, that is kind of the godfather of it, and he introduced us to a couple of different people and said, hey, you know what, you're starting an office moving division. I've got a great find for you. It's so-and-so. Well, we didn't hire that guy, but the guy that worked for him was Jim Stevens. And so we got introduced. He's 35. He's got 3 kids, a wife. So they move their families across country to leave a comfortable $300,000-$400,000 a year job to go start something new.
Right.
Why would somebody do that? Well, if they want to build something and have ownership and have something one day that they can look back on and be proud of, and not just be a number, but actually make a difference and put their mark, that's kind of what we all envision together, and what I think he's bought into.
Yep. And he got to leave DC and move to Phoenix, where he seems to love.
That doesn't suck too.
No.
It's nice here.
So let's get into a little bit about I wouldn't say nonprofit, I always say that, but your community service work, like you do very similar job that I have, right? So we're out and about everywhere. A lot of this stuff has to do with, giving back to the community. Obviously, and you're the business development guy, as I am as well. You're part of EC70, Executive Council 70, like we talked about at the beginning. But you guys have done like a number of things before that. You were involved in a ton of things. So now that you're part of EC70, it's like, do you guys still focus on other things, or do you use the club kind of as the place where you go for all that stuff?
No, and I think that I gravitated towards EC70 because of who I am and what I believe in things that are important to me. And so one of the organizations we were involved with a couple of years ago was Hope Women's Center. And so I got introduced to them by mutual contact. And the concept that I loved about Hope Women's Center was that they developed this program, and they take in, single mothers with children that have no other place to go. It's kind of U-Mom-like. Yep. And the thing that I loved is that they created this shop that you can buy things. So they've got clothing, soap, shampoo, diapers, all these things. And how do I earn credit? I don't have any money. So they attend training, classes, all kinds of different things to make them better people, and then they can buy things at the store. So they were expanding. We decided to do a free move for them and get them into their new building. And for me, you can do all kinds of revenue and you can build a huge business, but I do want to look back and be able to remember that something that we did that was totally different, that we took care of these people, we made their lives better, because moving is such an emotional experience. It's not like buying a piece of clothing online and you've had your experience and the clothes show up and I'm happy or not. There's this emotional roller coaster, as you know, going through the mortgage process. We deal with the same clients just at different times. You're tied to them throughout the whole process. So are we going to close? Are we going to not? Are we going to appraise? Are we passing inspection? So there's this emotional roller coaster in any kind of move. So when we can give back and do things like what we did for Hope Women's Center, or we've done the same for Glendale Special Victims Unit. So Glendale Special Victims Unit reached out to, I guess, a number of moving companies. This is probably 2018. So a friend of mine there, wasn't a friend at the time, but it was just literally a cold call. They said, hey, we've called 5 moving companies. We have a situation where we've got some victims of domestic violence that need to be relocated. Can you help us? I said, sure, let's do it. And they were so grateful, and you just feel so good at the end of it. And, that's really why we do those things, is to be able to take care of our community. We're born and raised here, so all our views align with EC70. That's just kind of who I was. So we're going to continue that. That's
cool. Yeah. It's one of those things you're probably going to be telling your kids about more than you are about like how much money you guys made at Muscular Moving. At the end of the day, right? It's the things that your kids look at you and they're proud of their dad. For
the event we did together was Sleep in Heavenly Peace. We built beds at North & Co.
Yep.
And my daughter talks about it to this day. So
really?
She's 11 and she's, putting, bed parts into the finisher and there's, we're staining pieces, we're cutting, we're sawing, we're sanding, and some people kind of scattered out of there quick, but we stayed like all the way to the end. And she loved it, and she still talks about it. And we could do, the same thing. We went and fed families at Boys and Girls Club. Still talks about it to this day. So those are the moments that I love the most, because they're going to cherish that, and I'm going to feel the same way.
Yeah, totally. It's like an experience versus like a material item. Even with Christmas coming up, we've had this conversation, like going somewhere and doing something, as opposed
we're going to do charity this year, kids,
that's
for Christmas.
Yeah,
that's what we're doing.
Good luck with that one, buddy.
Can I have some Robux, Dad?
Obviously, we have a relationship with VIP, with our team. We refer you business. I know you guys have a lot of relationships with tons of brokerages in town, from your work and people that under you that do the same thing. My home group being one, obviously, Home Smart. So with us, so you're working with different people in VIP Mortgage. Who is it besides us?
So Eric Hillstrom.
Okay, you were working with Eric before us even.
Yeah. And so we've gotten a chance to meet the ownership team as well. And the thing that I think about when it comes to how can we integrate ourselves and be of service in the transaction, right? So if I'm a mortgage broker or I'm a realtor or I'm entitled, I need an advocate as a mover. I need to know that these guys, if there's any kind of issue, I can call Justin and say, we are not going to close, or I need this or I need that.
Right.
Done. We'll take care of it. And you really just want to automate that process. You don't want to have to worry about, I totally forgot to call the moving company or have my clients call the mover. So how do we automate that process? I feel like for us, there's a couple of different vendors that we work with that really have figured it out. And when a client opens escrow, they'll send us their information, and we're not even there as a sales pitch. It's not even what it's about. It's how can we provide value to this transaction?
Yeah.
So whether it's bringing some packing supplies out or assisting them in space planning, or did you know we do storage? We can help you with doing disposal of items and stuff like that. So if you approach it from being of service as opposed to a sales pitch, we can absolutely revolutionize the business. There's no reason that there shouldn't be a moving company involved in every step of the process, because when the shit hits the fan at the end of the process and we don't close, I'll just tell you this quick story. So we had a client we moved into, I think it was like a 4,000 square foot house in Gilbert. It was 3 trucks, and it was an all day move.
I've heard this story.
Oh, you've heard it? Okay.
They haven't. It's a horror story.
It's an all day move. We showed up. They were more or less ready, but we had, I think, 8 crew members and 3 trucks. Okay. So, we get towards the end of the day. We finished 7, 8 o'clock that night. Family had a great experience. They're into their home. Kids' beds are put together. They're ready to, sit down and have dinner. And they get a call, or I get a call at least, from the agent saying, we were not supposed to move into that house. We did not take possession. I need you to go back and move everything out of that house. And so my heart kind of sank, just not only for my crew members, but for the family that was now going to not be able to sleep in their house. And we have to go disassemble all these kids' beds and take all the furniture back out, and now they need to go figure out where they're going to stay for the night. So I call the crew and say, guys, I've got some good news and some bad news. They're both kind of the same. But essentially, you are going to have to go back and move everything out of that home you just moved everything into, but you know exactly where in the truck it goes because you just took it out. So head back. So we finish at 1, 2 o'clock that morning. But, I mean, those are the moments that stick in my mind, and those are the kinds of situations why we need to be so involved in the process so we don't accidentally move a whole family's house in, and we weren't supposed to do that.
What do you do for those movers, like the guys that are working?
Beg them to come back.
I mean, seriously, right? I mean, you have to bonus them, obviously, and give them more, or do something. You can't.
Overtime's a hell of a thing.
Okay,
they definitely.
They make, because that's. I mean, just for the fact is it's their choice to stay. Basically, they're like, dude, I have to work until 2 o'clock in the morning. And
show up the next day, possibly. So
Yeah.
it's an insane business. They don't get enough credit. I mean, anytime we get a chance to take care of them or take them on a trip or show them how much we appreciate them, we definitely do that because it's well deserved.
So you're working with obviously realtors. You work with lenders. Does title come into play as well? As far as, I mean, can they help you as well as much as like a lender or a realtor can?
Yeah, I think that if we work with a title company, it would be good to leverage our partnership to go work with a mortgage provider or a realtor office so that we can partner in some way, shape, or form. So I think that title handles a lot of the marketing material and assisting you in putting together flyers for open houses. Well, Muscular Moving Men can also support your open house, and we can provide some boxes and things like that for the client that's getting ready to move. So mostly agents and mortgage brokers.
So I think that one of the things that you came to us with, I know that some of the other companies you're working with, agents, they've already kind of started this process, and it would be like you said, click of the button. So like they come, so you're innovative, I guess, in this world. You're like, listen, it should be just as simple as like a VIP. We have someone can click a button for if they want an insurance quote, right? Because we have VIP insurance. It can also be that easy for like, dude, would you like, Muscular Moving Men to? So it's something we add into our CRM system that we are working on. But that's something that obviously you've approached other people with this and you should be doing, obviously. But, I think that maybe that's one of the things that separates you, maybe, that you're out and about more than most people. It's not like there's a ton of movers, right? And a ton of moving companies, but you don't have like a bunch of Justin Hodges out there that are doing the same thing you're doing.
No, it's a super old, antiquated business, which I think is probably our saving grace. And because honestly, I feel like I could have gone into any business, and Josh and I could have started any business. We just happened to land on moving.
Yeah.
So we're kind of like a marketing company that just happens to move. And so you talked about how you guys have revolutionized the business with creating this opportunity to get insurance or all these various things. There's nobody in moving that's really doing any of this. So it's a lot of guys in suit and ties showing up in your living room to give you an estimate and shake your hand and spend some time with you. And we don't really need to do that. I mean, a lot of technology is so good at this point that I can pull up a Zillow listing, and as soon as they give me an address and I say, okay, you've got a 4-bedroom, 3,300 square foot home. And by the way, in your son's room here, I see the white dresser. Is that going to go? They go, holy crap. What? You can, yeah, I'm online here. So we can do something in 15 minutes that somebody was taking hours and weeks and whatnot to do. So people's time is precious. So how do we change and be radically different from any other moving company? So I think that we're getting there. I think that we've just scratched the surface and there's a lot more that we can do. But yeah, we're definitely alike in that way.
So moving forward, just to kind of wrap everything up, where do you guys, I mean, is there anything that you guys got going on right now that you're like the next thing that you're going to launch, or, I mean, what's going on? Is there anything else?
Funny you mentioned that, Ryan. What an interesting segue that is.
Actually did not know there was, or did you tell me?
You're just that good. I mean, you're just so good at this thing.
I really don't know.
Ladies and gentlemen, Real Talk with Ryan Madrid is
I swear
today.
I didn't know, but.
So we are launching a junk hauling division. Actually.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So you did, back of the mind.
Sorry.
So the reason that's interesting and important and why it's different is a lot of the time, every client we move is going to get rid of something prior to their move. And for a long time, so we'll move 300 or 400 clients a month. And well, I have some things that need to go to donation or Goodwill, or can you assist? And so we don't really do a whole lot with that. So there's 300 or 400 clients that are either putting their items out on the street for a bulk trash collection, or maybe not being able to repurpose those and get them to a donation center like they should. And so what we've done is launched M3 junk hauling. And what we're going to do with that is, just like we talked about, be able to take clients' items and take them to charity if they're going to be reused. And if it's trash, it's trash. So we're weeks into this right now, and we've booked several projects, and it's going to be a huge value add. So when you talk to realtors and they're working with clients, I can't go take pictures of my client's house because it's I don't know what to do. Call M3 Junk Removal. They'll come and assist, and we'll have that conversation with the client and take the realtor out of the equation so we can help clear spaces out. Now, not every place is going to be a hoarder house situation. So I brought another specialist in to run this division, kind of similar to the conversation about Jim Stevens. Yeah. So his name is Ethan Delahunty. He came from the East Coast as well, young guy. He's
that's Jim's guy. Jim's intern.
Yep, he's the junk man. So literally every time we get one of those projects, we went out and crushed that one, by the way, with the hoarder house situation.
You guys put all that junk into the moving trucks, or
we did
different
trucks?
Okay.
No. So yeah, we'll have 2 trucks that are specialized that are meant for that.
Yeah.
So we'll just go rent trucks.
Right.
That's what we did in this case, actually. So we don't trash up our own trucks.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're excited about that. So now you've got these different little ancillary businesses that are kind of all feeding the parent company, which is Muscular Moving Men.
Nice. And you guys are up on, like you said, the 101 in Cave Creek, and that's where you keep all the trucks. You have more than one building there, right?
Yeah, we have a couple. So we do storage, by the way, too. But, and that's one interesting thing that's happened from COVID kind of hitting. And we had this initial slowdown in March, April. We had hundreds of cancellations, which was really scary at that point. And what we've seen since then is some of the busiest months we've ever had. October, we just finished, the biggest month we've ever had in 13 years. And so what we're seeing is people don't have any place to go. So now we need storage. So we have 50,000 feet or so of space. And what we do is they're called storage vaults. And we have about 900 of them. And we're at 98% capacity. So basically all of them are completely full. It's
long-term, short-term, day, 2 days, or it could be months.
Somewhere in between. People just have no place to move into right now. So they're waiting for their new house to be built, or they're just in a temp rental waiting to figure out where they're going to go. So yeah, it's been huge for us, and another side business that's become really big.
Well, we appreciate our relationship, obviously, at VIP Mortgage and with Muscular Moving Men, but Justin and I, obviously we're buddies, so I appreciate you coming on here and doing this for me. We're just getting rolling, right? So it helps to have some strong business people in my network that I can that relates to the real estate world. So I appreciate it. Thanks again to Trey and Trisha. Thanks VIP Mortgage. Appreciate it sponsoring us, Tsunami and Escrow. So
thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Justin. And we're out. So if you're like me, you haven't been doing a great job with your social media, video, and marketing. I think we all know we should be doing this, but it's not as easy as it looks, and sometimes it's a little intimidating. So I found an app called Tsunami with an X, You can find it on any of the app stores. And what they do is you actually film the video on your phone, and then you send it on over to them. And these are professionals that will edit it, and they'll put a footer and a header, and they'll even give you scripts if you need them. So if it's an opportunity for you to make videos and have it look great, because like I said, these are professional people doing these for you, and they'll even teach you how to upload it to social media, and it'll make you look good, and it'll get you past your hesitation of doing it on your own. So check it out. Tsunami with an X.